I have lived through a lot in my short Browns fandom. And I know I have not lived through half of what most Browns fans that are older than me have. I was not alive for the move. I was not alive for the fumble or the drive or any of the Browns tragedies like that. But I have lived through the Johnny Manziel era, the Orange is Oranger era, the Hugh Jackson era, the ups and downs of the Baker Mayfield era, the one singular up, and it wasn't even with Deshaun Watson, but the one singular up of the Deshaun Watson era and all the downs that we had in that era. And I don't think I have witnessed a more frustrating season as a Browns fan than this year. The Browns, I did not expect the Browns to be Super Bowl contenders or even playoff contenders, honestly. But I expected the Browns to be a team that you look at the schedule and you were like, man, we got to go play the Browns. We'll probably beat them, but they'll give us our best shot. And next week, we are probably going to be resting a bunch of players because of injury, and we'll be a physical team that can run the ball and play great defense. And instead, we have an offense that, because of their offensive line, not because of their running backs, but because of their offensive line, cannot block or cannot run the ball. Our quarterback cannot pass the ball. Most of our receivers cannot catch the ball. And Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy had pretty good games, but I am tired of the Jerry Jeudy drops. Tommy Rees was able to get Jerry Jeudy into the game more than Kevin Stefanski was for the past few weeks. And that is also a credit because Cedric Tillman was also in the game this week, which, put everything back into place of where everyone else is supposed to be. But it's just, you can see the Jets on defense today, and the Jets do not have a good defense at all anymore. They just traded away their two best defenders, arguably their two best players outside of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. There's an argument for those four players for your top two. But Sauce Gardner is gone. So the Jets do not have... This almost feels like... I remember when the Browns clinched in 2023 with Joe Flacco at home, and it was one of the best environments we've had, and that was a Thursday Night Football game. I remember watching a Jets fan reaction to that game, and it almost feels like we just did a 180 completely. Not the Jets. The Jets have always been bad ever since then, but the Browns did a complete 180. We were a team that the Jets really had no answer for defensively. And instead, especially in the second half when the Jets were able to make adjustments, it just felt like our offense was moving in quicksand yet again. Now, we only did lose by 7, but it felt like a lot more. It honestly did. The defense did everything it could today. But it also doesn't help that you are playing in a 14-point hole, basically. We spotted the Jets 14 points on those special teams errors. Bubba Ventrone needs to go. The fact that he can even get on a plane and go to Cleveland tonight is ridiculous. Kevin Stefanski needs to go. Andrew Berry can stay. He proved that he is, at the very least, a decent general manager that can draft excellent players because the Browns just had one of their best draft classes in franchise history, most likely. And the Browns are wasting it on their rookie contracts, which is when this type of draft class goes on with any other team, they are immediately propelled into playoff contention, and the Browns have 2 wins. One with an upset, which is what the Browns need to be. They need to be a team that can play physical, limit possessions, and win on the margins. Win by field goals. Win by 6 points. Win these one-possession games. And we did that against the Packers, and I felt amazing. I thought that was going to be what the Browns that's what the Browns need to do every week, is to play a team like they played the Packers. And the Dolphins, who are just bad, like, as a whole, like, they're probably going to get the number 1 overall pick this year. They're that bad. They did just beat the Bills, so we'll see about that. But right now, I believe the Browns, I don't have a script for this. I don't fact check any of my stuff, which can be a negative on my part. I apologize for that. But I think the Browns, with the loss to the Jets today, just if the season ended today, the Browns would have the number 2 overall pick. And we'll see what the Jaguars do. They did lose to the Texans, and the Texans just made a huge comeback and beat the Jags today. So we'll see what happens with that and how far the Jets do fall at the end of the season. Because Travis Hunter did just go on IR, we'll see what that really does. He wasn't your best player on offense, but he was still a player that could contribute. So we'll see how that affects the Jets. But it's just the fact that the Browns continue to do this over and over and over again. And just it is infuriating that they are letting the Cleveland Browns are letting Kevin Stefanski take their franchise back back to 2020, basically. With the Browns, we have to take 16 steps back to take a step forward. We have an offense whose offensive line cannot block, therefore we cannot run, with great running backs. Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins are great running backs, especially Quinshon Judkins. He is being spoiled by, not even spoiled, because he's being ruined by an offensive line that cannot block. They are old, they cannot block. And we have a quarterback that's throwing the ball that cannot throw. Wide receivers, they cannot catch. Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman had okay games today, but I'm really getting sick and tired of the Jerry Jeudy drops. So, the defense, they did what the defense needed to do. They did. They ended up breaking in the second half, but who's not going to break after you give teams so many chances to kick that ball? That's not even a great analogy. You give teams so many chances to swing at a pitch, they're eventually going to hit it. And that's exactly what the Jets did today. The Browns offense had so many chances. So I don't know if anyone watched the Cavs and Bulls game from last night, but when the Cavs were making their comeback and they would get it to a tie game or a 1-point game, and then the Bulls would miss their next possession and the Cavs would come back down the floor. For majority of that game up until the fourth quarter, when the Cavs eventually did break through, it felt like the Cavs were allergic to taking the lead. And over again, and if they would fail to take the opportunity away from the Bulls and take the lead. And when they did take the lead, the Bulls would go on a 6-point run, and then you're down by 4 again. And rinse and repeat. Bulls would go on a run, Cavs would gradually get back up, and then the Bulls would take the lead again. Cavs would gradually get back up, and then the Cavs took the lead and then won the game late in the fourth quarter. That's what it felt like with this game, except there was no comeback for the Browns. There was a comeback, but it was tie game, and then the Jets would score, and then tie game, Jets would score. Apart from the 95-yard drive that ended, and then the Jets scored 14 straight. Browns tied it up. Jets scored. Browns tied it up. Jets scored. So, I don't know what to say. I don't know. The fact that the Browns just can't beat the Jets. Really? The Jets just traded away their two best players on defense. And we couldn't score more than 20 points. I'll say, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. Congratulations, Fernando Mendoza. You are a future Cleveland Brown.